Hello everyone, it has been a while. So my name is Thomas. So I run an agency called Digital Cookie where I kind of design and consult on Notions, where I help companies to set up their Notion systems. So today I'm very excited to kind of restart my YouTube journey again. It's been a while, I think it's like 8 months. So today I'm going to show you how you can integrate Notion forms and then also Notion dashboard and then their email functionality to create what we call it. This is actually a DASS. So if you're not familiar with it, basically it's kind of like from the mental health field. So I'm a counselor as well. So it's called Depression, Anxiety, Stress Scale 21. So basically it's a form with 21 questions. So you can kind of see here. So I'm going to show you this complete dashboard right now. So this is basically the form. So you have some instructions here on how you kind of do it. So 0 means did not apply. And then 3 is applied to me most of the time. So first of all, you're optional. You can input your email. If you input your email, it means that you receive an answer. And then you can add age, you put a race, professions, and then these other questions that you can answer. So once you key in this one, so once the user key in it, so it will automatically go into this table. And then you can see all these other entries by the users. So these are just examples. And then they will receive an email of the result. Lastly, as someone that's kind of collecting all this information, we kind of see I create a very simple dashboard. So just kind of see like on the depression scale, anxiety and stress, like overall, like what are the people are facing, like you can see that a lot of people have severe depression, for example. And then the majority of them have maybe moderate anxiety. Like, so for me, I do my own counseling services. So for my own clients as well, I can kind of see the conditions and the trends, the patterns to kind of do more further analysis. So without further ado, so you can purchase this template for $5. I'll link it in the description below. But if you would like to just build yourself, so this tutorial will teach you step by step on how to create this dashboard. All right, let's get into it. So first of all, we have a blank page here. So what are the things that we need, right? So basically, we only just need one database. It's actually very simple. So we just need one database here. So I'm going to just create this database and I'll call it DASS-21. So just kind of call it DASS-21 tutorial, right? So now we don't have to do anything. We can just kind of remove this line here. Just click it here. Can I click it? Interesting. It's actually not creating a page, right? So I think this is like a new aesthetic from Notion. All right. So next is we want to use the new table format, right? So click on plus. So you can do this on your existing database as well. So you don't have to create like a new database. So here you can see this form new, click it, and then you can have like more like a Google form interface, right? So I'm going to call this DASS-21 and then that's it. So next we kind of think of what we want, what type of information we want from the user, right? So first of all, we want the name here. It depends on whether you want name. For this case, we can have the name and then maybe we want an email, right? So we want an email so that we can send, like once it's done, we can email the user. So next is maybe you want like a gender, for example. So I'm gonna go to a gender here, select it. So we can select multiple choice and then maybe put a gender. So required. So this kind of the options as well. If you want people to include, right? So you can select required, and then you can put some descriptions as well if you want. Max selection. So by default, you can have multiple selections. So what that means basically is just, so if I have male, female, others. So for example, if I go to preview, so what happens is just that they can select multiple. So you need to make sure that you select one, right? So question types. So this is it. And then view link properties. I don't think this is it. All right. And then the important thing is by default is sync with property name. So what this means is that it's actually linked to your database itself. So if you go to a table, you can see it actually creates a the name and then it has an email and then a gender. So every time people submit it, you can automatically see it. It's very seamless in this case. And then next is we want to have the DASS question, right? So for this tutorial, I'm not going to go through all the list of questions. So I have maybe a few questions here. So for example, here I'm going to do a multiple choice question. So let me see. I don't remember what's the question for DASS. I think I feel dryness in my mouth, something like that. So just an example here. So we're going to do required as well. And then we're going to do one option. Make sure you do that. And you select your option. So you can see like never. So sometimes, I think. And then often. And then always. Almost always, I think. I could be wrong, but it's fine. So now the thing is that it's a little bit easier touch is just to kind of round out the scoring is I kind of include like a numbering behind it. So when we kind of do the scoring for this DASS, I just capture the number. So the idea is that if you're not aware of DASS, is that we have 21 questions, right? So each question like kind of generate a certain scores. So for example, this one, I don't remember what this is, but I'll just kind of do this as, I'll write it as like, maybe this is for anxiety, for example. So, and then I'll do another one. So next one, I'm just going to do like anxiety 2. So it's easier for us to kind of track. So we kind of do like, I think this one, I'll just do anxiety 1. It's not typing properly. Anxiety, we don't have ant. So this basically, for example, if you choose often and often, so you get 2 points for anxiety. So there's like a scale for DASS-21. If you're like, for example, I think the scale is like, if you're more than 10, for example, so you might have like a mild anxiety, things like that. So this is kind of how the scoring done. So I'm not going to go through that exactly, so I'll show you a link as well. So basically there's a scale. Let me just kind of find it for you. There is like a guide kind of thing. I had it yesterday. I'm just gonna find it back now. Don't think it's this one. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah, this one. This is the one. So basically there's a scale here. You can kind of see here. So if it's 0 to 9, so it means you're normal, under like a normal scale level, you're mild, and 10 to 13, like 14 to 20 is moderate. So we're not gonna follow exactly on this, but I'm gonna write down the logic for you so you kind of duplicate it for your own use cases. Alright, so we're gonna go back to form right now. So I'll have just 2 questions for anxiety. And then just now I didn't get to explain as well. You can actually duplicate this, so I just gonna duplicate this, and then I'm just gonna do like depression 1, and then I'm gonna duplicate again, depression 2. Why am I typing twice? And then stress 1, and then stress 2. Okay. So basically, once they submit this, they can get their own scoring into it. So we're done with the form parts. Of course, you can include like descriptions as well. So this is an assessment for like depression, anxiety, and stress scale. It is not meant for diagnosis. Okay, that's it. So a little bit about sharing as well for Notion form is that, so while the functionality is actually quite complete, so they don't have like a branching logic. So it means like if you select, if you're male, then maybe there's like a male specific question you want, right? So you can't do that for now. I think it's on the roadmap. Another thing is you cannot have like a drop down option. So all of them is what I call this, like a radio button kind of thing. So it shows everything here. So ideally, like for gender, like for example, you probably want to have like a drop down, right? So at least for now, it doesn't have it. But other than that, the feature is fairly complete in my personal opinion. So I'm going to just go to preview. I'm going to show you an example of when I submit this, right? So I'm going to call this person Paul. And then go to paul@gmail.com. Paul is a male, and then he's always has anxiety, like he feels it often, sometimes, and then just going to do this, select it, and then submit. So what it would look like is that, another thing is that the users, they do not need to have access to your Notion database. So this can be open to public. Of course, you can adjust it so that only specific people can access, but in general, anyone can actually just access and submit it. And then your response has been submitted where you email you a link to your response. So they can actually click view my response, and then you can see the database here. So I'm not sure. I think they should be able to. They should, right? Let me do a checking actually. I'm not too sure about this because I know that they can see it, but so let me just share this form. So anyone admin with link. So, or we can do anyone on the web with link. So we can make it public. Notion branding can remove it. Anonymous responses, we can allow it. So I'm gonna open my Chrome browser right now. Okay, I actually don't have Chrome, so I'm gonna use my Safari. I think this is my first time using it though. I actually don't remember. Alright, so now that we have this form again, we're gonna call Jessica. And then with Jessica, maybe I'll just, it doesn't matter. I don't have actually an email here. So female. So I'm gonna do the answer here, select up to 1. So I'm not sure why they have this description here, like select up to 1. Okay, so now that you have it, enter your email to receive a copy of your response. Also, you can't actually see the page, but if you send it, let me kind of see. I'll send it to my own business email. Let's see how it looks like. So send a copy. So I don't think this one you can customize it. So this is probably not the feature we want, but alright. So let's go to my email right now. So this is how my email looks like, right? So I can click this view response in Notion. So this is the form, how it looks like. So your response to DASS-21, and then your gender, your anxiety scores. So these are the questions that you answered. I'm not exactly sure if this is what I want. I'm not sure whether you can turn it off. So I'm going to show you the solutions that we want to have, right? Okay, so that's it for this one. Now that we go to the table, you can see we have Jessica, we have Paul here. So and then they submitted the answers, right? Okay, so that's the part for the form. So next is I'm going to just expand this just full width. Next, we want to calculate the scores, right? We want to know like, okay, so how many scoring are here like exactly, and what's the anxiety, depression, and stress scores. So first, I'll create 3 properties. So I'm going to just go to here, and then let me just kind of rename this anxiety 1, so it's just easier to look at, right? So we have anxiety 1, depression 1, 2, 3, all right. So I'm going to create a formula here. So I'm going to call this anxiety score, and then I'm going to duplicate. No, I'm not going to duplicate first. And then we're going to use this formula here. So replace all property name A to Z and then dot. So then M2 number. So basically, this is just a regular expression. So it calls regex. So I'm actually not really expert on this. I actually just follow a tutorial by, I think it was written by Gregory. So basically, you can just kind of copy this formula here. So what we kind of want to do is just replace this. So this is for anxiety score, right? So I'm going to find anxiety 1. So what will happen is that it removes all the text in anxiety 1, but it keeps the number. So in this case, it's 3. If I'm going to change it to 2, it will become 2 as well. You can see here. Okay. Then just now also something I want to highlight as well is when you use the formula, something weird happens. It's just that it's not really weird, I guess. It's by default, it will create like a multi-select type. So if you want it to be just select, right? So in our case, actually, we just want select. You can just do it here. So it's up to your preference, but I generally prefer to just make it select if it means they only have one option, right? So it's a bit annoying that Notion doesn't change it, but since they just released this, so I don't think it's too big of a deal to say per se. So, and if you don't touch it, you just use the form, then that's fine. But at least we kind of change it now, so it just becomes a single option. So okay. So next we're gonna do is just repeat the same formula. So we're gonna just copy this and then just type plus and then shift enter. We do the same thing again. So just paste it, and then instead of anxiety 1, I'm gonna search for anxiety 2, and that's it. So 3 plus 2 equals to 5. And then here we kind of test it out. So 0 means 3. That's it. So we have the anxiety score. So now we're gonna go for the depression score. So let's go do this. I'm gonna do depression score. So depression score, we can do like depression. I'm gonna do the same thing again. Wait, I did not copy the right one. Okay, I think we can just do this actually. Depression score. So I'm gonna just replace this with depression 1 and then depression 2. That's it. Simple as that. And then last we have is the stress score. So stress score, can't really type properly. We're gonna do the stress. So we're gonna change this to stress 1, stress 2. All right. So now that we have our scoring, so we want to have the scale, right? Like earlier I showed you. So it depends on the numbering. Like if it's more than 10, you'll be like anxiety. Like, so it depends on the logics. So how I kind of do it is as well is create another formula property again. So technically speaking, like you can have like everything in one page, like a one formula kind of thing. So the reason why I want to have multiple, like a formula kind of thing, is just that it'll be easier for our chart later to kind of display the information. So, but for now, like, let me just kind of organize a little bit more. It's gonna prefer to do nicer. All right. Now I'm gonna do another formula here. So I'm gonna call it like anxiety result. So anxiety results. And then, so you type a formula here, like, so if anxiety score is, I don't know, since we only have maximum, I think maximum is only like 6, right? So I'll just say like maybe it's less than 1 is normal, right? So we're gonna call it normal. And then we're gonna do something like this. So if, do I wanna, okay, no, I think before we do this, let me just remove this. So another formula that if you're kind of new to Notion as well, just kind of teach you as well, is on the variable. So variable, like if you learn programming before, right? So basically like you can kind of store a specific value. So in this case, I don't want to keep typing like anxiety. I don't want to keep referring to the same one. So what we can do is, so in variable in Notion is called let. So what you can do is you kind of do like this. You open a bracket and close it, and then just kind of do a shift enter. So it's the spacing a little bit better. And then here you can kind of see Notion, they give you instructions about how to use variable. So first you type the name. So I want to type the name is, I'll just type the score, okay? So let, since we only have 1. And then I'm going to type the score is anxiety score. That's it. So, and then what we can do is, you do a comma, and then you type your formula here. So the one just now we type is, so if score less than 1, then we call it normal, okay? Else is high. Let's just test it out. So you can see that it's more than 1, then it's high, normal and high. So we can do like equal as well. So less than or equals then. So maybe we can do next one is, so we want to do a few more, right? So And then next we're gonna just shift enter again. So if score less than equals to maybe 3, then next we're gonna do mount. So I'm gonna just do a few versions here. And then if score is less than equals to 5, then we're gonna do maybe severe. Else, lastly, is extremely severe. So anything else that is more than that is extremely severe. So next, you're just gonna want to type 1, 2, 3, and close a bracket. Then the formula should work. You can see here, severe. So I think the score is 5, so it's severe. If you're gonna do more than that, I don't think we can reach more than that. So that's it. So that's anxiety score. So we're gonna just duplicate as well, anxiety results. So we're gonna do this. So we have a depression result. Okay. So now instead of just changing all this score thing, we can just change this one thing. So we're gonna do depression score. That's it. So we have it, and I'm gonna duplicate again. And then we're gonna call this stress result. And then we're gonna type in the stress score as well. And there you have it. So you have the stress, anxiety, and depression results. Alright. So basically we have everything now. So we can kind of just hide this. So if you don't want to see so many of the results, right? So we kind of just anxiety 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we can just hide our score as well. We just want to see our results. And that's it. So every time people submit it, they can see you can see their DASS results. So here, depressions, anxiety, and stress. So the final steps is just to create the dashboard. Oh no, the second step. So another step is before that is you want to set up a customized email. So you want to create an email where every time the users submit their result, they will receive an email to kind of let them know their result in a nicer format. The one that we saw just now is not that nice. So what you can do is you can use create and view automation. So select this. So when you want this automation to trigger, right? So you want it when a page is being added. So what this means is that when someone submits a form, it will run. And then what do you want to do? So what we want to do is you want to send an email. So you want to send an email to the user. But before that, we want to do something called define variables. So I'm going to show you why first. So first, to who we want to send it to, right? So we're going to send it to the person who enters the email. And then can I do some filter? Email is contains, is edited, is cleared, is start with. I actually don't know whether you can do a filter because I'm kind of thinking like if it doesn't have email, maybe we kind of skip it kind of thing. But I think for now it's fine. So alright, so we have this email here and then subject. So what is the subject, right? So we can do like maybe we can put their name first. So trigger page name. Okay, trigger page name. So I'll kind of explain this a little bit more. So here basically all of this is kind of functions similar to like Notion formula. So what we want right now is actually we want to get the name right. So you want to get their name. So maybe like DASS-21 result. We put their name here. So the name here, right? You want to put Jessica or Paul. So what you can do is do like a what I call it, like an A thing. Kind of suddenly I can't think of it. Alias, yeah. And then property from. It's asking you what do you want to put here. So when you put A, sometimes you can select the date triggered, or maybe we want the date, right? The date that you submitted. There are some few options here as well. But what we want is the trigger page. So the page that we're gonna send an email from, the results. So in this case, select it, and then what results you want, right? So we want the name here. That's it. So this is the one that we want. And then the message, what we can do is, dear, we do the same thing again. So trigger page, and then we're gonna do their name, dear Jessica, here is your DASS result. And we're gonna do depression's result. Just depression, I guess. Anxiety, then we can type it here as well. Anxiety and then stress. Okay, and then you can do like regards, and then I'll just put my company name here. And you can even send like a display name as well. So digital cookie. And then here we want to put the results, right? So let me just do this. We can kind of do this back, please here. And we do the same thing. So trigger page. And so now we want to show them the depression result. Okay. Then okay, actually we don't need the variables. So just ignore what I said earlier. Trigger page, anxiety results. And then lastly we have is trigger page. We have the stress results. That's it. So every time they submit a form, they should receive an email that shows their result. So we can even kind of bold it, we can kind of style it however we want. So that's it. So send replies to optionals. So we don't need to add action. So we don't need to. So the only thing is kind of like whether I want to kind of option. You can actually have CC, BCC. So I don't think we need that. Collapse, add steps. All right. I think that's it. So just click create. Can I rename this thing though? Can't. What do they call it? Email automation, maybe. Automation. Just create it. So by default, we just run every time we submit a new form. So let's test it out. So we've got a form builder, and then this time we're gonna go preview. So I use my cat's name. So the email, I'm gonna send to my own email so that I can kind of check it out. So another thing is that if you notice, currently Notion only support like Gmail. So if you're using Outlook like me, right? So Microsoft Outlook. So you're kind of out of luck. So I'm kind of using my own personal like email to kind of do that. So your response has been submitted. So there still will ask you about your email. Send a copy. I'm not sure if I really like this that much though, but you can kind of put both so you kind of check it out how it looks like compared. I would like them to kind of allow us to turn off this option. So first you receive this, like this is the one that I asked for the options, right? So you can view response in Notion, you can click it, and then they will see Oreo name, and then they have anxieties, things like that. So I guess what they can see is what they submitted in their form. So they can't really see their results. Interesting. So I guess basically we can't customize this page, right? Which is why I kind of wanted to turn it off. But it's fine. Another thing is I forgot to add this. I probably should add this kind of status here. So status, we can just call this like a email sent. I'm gonna just delete this. So it's just to kind of help us to kind of keep track, right? Like when it's being sent. So right now we have no idea whether it's being sent or not. And I actually see some error there, so I'm not too sure is it working or not. So another thing we're gonna do is just add one more action and then edit property. And then we go to status sent. Alright. So by right, if we submit another form again, it should send it. So let's do one more, since earlier we did kind of do it right. So I'm going to Rebecca. So I'm going to send to my own company email again. So digitalcookie.com. And then Rebecca is a female. And then, okay, this is a stress anxiety level. Submit. So now we're going to skip this now. So we're going to see in Notion, how does it look like? So table, you can see Rebecca email sent. So now you can see that the results for Oreo is here. So dear Oreo, here is your DASS results. Depression severe, anxiety severe, stress severe, regards digital cookie. So normally it takes actually around, I think around like 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to actually receive this email. So it's a bit slow actually, like, so the response, it's not like immediate, but this is kind of how you can customize it. And you can actually like kind of format it, like style it better. But at least for now, like this is kind of how it looks like. And that's it. Alright, so the final steps is just to create a dashboard. So what I did originally is I created 3 scales, right? So depression, anxiety, and stress results. So I'm going to do the same. So first of all, slash, and then type column. So I'm going to create 3 separate columns here. And then I'm going to do a link database of, what did we call this name? We call it DASS-21 tutorial, I think. DASS-21 tutorial. Is it this one? Actually, I don't know. What do I call this? Okay, never mind. Let me just copy this. That's how sometimes I do it. Because you have so many databases. Which one is it though? Oh, I don't feel like I have triple columns though. Okay, I think I have extra more. Okay, I think this is correct. Right, so I'm gonna paste it. Link database view. We're gonna select this. They laid out instead of this. We're gonna make it a charts, and then we're gonna database title. We don't need this. Right. So we're gonna call this depression. Alright. It sounds very depressed. And now we want to kind of see, I guess, like in general, like what's the number of people like with like mild, severe, like low, normal, like depression level, right? So we're gonna edit view and we're gonna select what to show. So what do we want to show? So I want to show the depression results. So now we can kind of see how many of them have it. So I think this is a score actually. So depression result, and then we're gonna omit 0 value. So I think this doesn't matter here. So second one is y-axis one we want to show. We just kind of want to do a count, you know, how many people has like a normal depression level, how many people have severe depression level. And then here we can do this 0 count means like it will disappear. So we only show the results that has been submitted. So this is for depression, and I'm gonna do another thing, just duplicate this, and I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna duplicate this again, and I'm gonna put it here, and then I'm gonna just do like this, and I'm gonna change this to anxiety, and then we're gonna change the properties here, edit view. So make sure that we select anxiety result, and then we select count again, and then the same thing here. We're gonna change the stress, and then we're gonna stress result, and then make sure we change to count one more time, and that's it. So there you have it. This is where you can see the results. You can have it here through Notion. So it's like a dashboard for you to kind of have an overview of people, like So you can share it on websites, and then people submit it. You can have immediate analysis with it. So I hope this tutorial is helpful. Thank you for watching. It's a bit longer. So if you just want to buy this template, you can buy it. As I mentioned, it's in the link below for $5. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.